Hi, I'm Margaret and welcome to Garden School. It's just the very beginning of spring right now, and I'm up here at the peep hatch, and I wanted to just take a look at what's going on with my soil and see if there's some prep that I need to do for time to plant some early things. Now, one thing that I did when I was cleaning up last fall, or actually during the winter, was that I left a pile of things in my bed to compost during the winter and to just break down, and I wanted to see what was going on with that. Now, I had things like a lot of cosmos stems. They're very fibrous and they have just dried up to almost nothing. Calendula and maybe a zucchini, some things like that. And I wanted to take a look at what those materials look like right now. So here I am just about at the bottom of my pile, and I see some, this is probably a cosmos stem, and then here's another little dry thing like that. But when I look at how brittle this is and how it breaks and crushes, and I could, with my hand, I could crush it into really tiny pieces. And then I look at the place where I am overwintering my dahlias, which are covered with chopped straw. I'm not seeing all that much difference. Of course, this one, big old stem here from a dahlia, I think, but very, very fibrous. It could break up into little wood chips. And I'm thinking, why can't I use that also for mulch instead of pulling it away out of the garden to compost elsewhere? Why can't I use that? Well, this is kind of similar to a method called chop and drop or compost in place. And I wanted to take a look at that today and explore that idea with you. In the fall, when we're starting to do our cleanup, or maybe it's going to be into the winter, when we start to do our cleanup, we probably don't see a lot of green vegetation on our plants anymore after the frost is hit. They're probably hit pretty hard. But these stems that end up being very brittle, 5 months later, 6 months later, that is nice nutritional material for the microbes that are in the soil. Now, one thing that I did discover is in my pile, I did find some snails and some slugs. So you want to make sure that you are going to clean that up and eradicate them. You don't want them to be multiplying in this nice mulchy stuff that you're going to be putting your little seeds and seedlings in. That would kind of defeat the purpose. So keep an eye on that. Also, if you have anything that's kind of that's just dissolved into rottenness. Like I had a couple dahlia tubers in here. They were just mushy. I'm going to pitch those. I don't want to bring any harmful bacteria to encourage them to grow in my garden area. There's some things in my pile here that were too hard to break down. So the detrivores, the things that help things decompose, haven't worked enough on things like this. This is the stem of a kale plant. You can see it's still a little bit green. It wasn't harvested that long ago and pulled up. So I'm not going to include that. That will take a lot longer to degrade. If I wasn't going to use this patch for a year, I sure could leave these things here and then chop them up with a hoe or a tool, a garden machete, that kind of tool, to make it into nice material that can be used as a mulch. It can also be integrated into heavy soil because these particles will provide space for moisture, for air in the soil if it's a compacted soil. So take a look for those weeds that really cause you a problem and try and get those out so that if there are any seeds developing on them when you pull them in the fall, in the winter, or during the winter, that you can just get those new seeds out of your area. Look also for the slugs and snails. Look for anything else that might be concerning to you. Maybe there's some fungus or mushrooms that you're not sure if should be in your vegetable garden. You might want to remove them, or they may be fine and okay. That's kind of your little research project to do. Now, one thing that's going to be more challenging in this kind of thing is to plant seeds, because I've got some large particles here, and depending on the size of your seed, you want some soil that has pretty fine particles instead of large pieces. And also these large pieces may not hold moisture as well as the soil itself. But for transplants, this should be really, really fine. And then you have this nice mulchy material right around to help retain moisture into the soil, and also maybe provide a little bit of temperature mediation. Well, I'm going to try it this year in this area. It saved me a lot of work. And I do have one little pile of stuff that's too tough to break up. I'll have to take that out and put it in the yard waste bin, or in a different composting pile where it can compost longer. Well, I hope you're able to do something like this and to see how it might benefit you in saving you some time and some work. Now, one other thing. By having this compost in place, beneath that area, no winter weeds have sprouted because it was covered and the light was prevented from getting to that soil area. I'm going to watch it now. Of course, we have a lot more light here now that we've passed our spring equinox, to see if those early spring weeds want to just take advantage of this area. That shouldn't be too hard if I try and stay on top of it. Well, you might try this chop and drop or composting in place. We could do a little bit more research on your own. Well, there's always more to learn in the garden. Bye-bye.